You're welcome, and thank you so much for making it a date with us on this special edition of the AYuTe Africa Challenge Nigeria. We're all here today to jointly envision the future of Africa's agriculture, particularly Nigeria's agriculture, knowing the critical and important role that Nigeria plays within sub-Saharan Africa, within the continent, and also globally. Today, you all agree with me that we're living in a country where our agriculture is one of the most under-mechanized, where our smallholder farmers have no choice but to go on with manual labor that sometimes can be 3 times more expensive than getting mechanization services through tractor services. They're operating manual labor that also can take them 40 times slower than having access to mechanization services. And at the same time, they're going through processes that is very rigorous that have made this sector not attractive to young people like all young people that we have in the room today. Also, our agriculture as well is one of the most underperforming when it comes to yield and productivity. So we are still strongly locked into underperformance in Nigeria and also in Africa. We also have smallholder farmers that are operating in regions that happen to be one of the most vulnerable to climate change impact, flood, drought, new pests and diseases affecting the smallholder farmers, calling for interventions to address some of these challenges. We're also operating in a sector where smallholder farmers are currently struggling and living in poverty because they cannot access extension services that they need. They cannot access fair market that they need. They cannot access improved input and seeds that they need. They also cannot access finance or innovation technology that can help them increase or improve their productivity. Also, you agree with me that in Nigeria and also in Africa, our smallholder farmer population are aging. We have an average farmer being around 60 years old, and our younger ones are not interested to go into agriculture. All this call for immediate and urgent intervention. And that's why Heifer International was formed. Heifer International is a non-profit organization operating globally on a mission to end hunger and poverty. And this we do through working with smallholder farmers, working with communities, working with innovators, and working with government and private sector partners to address the issues and the bottlenecks that continue to keep the world in poverty and continue to challenge our food security and food systems in the world. Heifer International, for over 78 years, have been working around various continents, operating in Americas, in Africa, and also in Asia, implementing programs and projects targeting poverty and hunger issues in the most critical areas that you can imagine and that you can think of. In Africa, Heifer International have operated for more than 48 years, working in more than 10 African countries, addressing issues of poverty and issues of hunger across board. In those 78 years of operation, Heifer International have been able to impact more than 36 million people in 21 different countries. And we are on a mission now to add additional 10 million people to those that will be impacted by 2030. And one of the reasons why we are all here to all envision together what future do we see for Africa's agriculture and what future do we see for Nigeria's agriculture. So Heifer International haven't worked for all these years trying to address all these numerous issues that I mentioned earlier, facing our smallholder farmers and our agricultural sector in Africa and also in Nigeria. We realized that there are two very key accelerators that we cannot joke with and that we need to leverage if we must solve these problems, if we must solve them fast, and if we must solve them at scale that's required to address our food security challenges, poverty issues, and also hunger issues as well. We realized that we need to tap into the power of our young people. In Nigeria alone, our population here have more than 50% of it being young people, creative young people, entrepreneurial young people that can come up with ideas and innovation that can solve the major problem that we have in the agricultural sector. We also realize that we must leverage technology and innovation if we must solve these problems within these sectors. We've done similar things in our entertainment sector. We've done in our financial sector. We've done in other sectors that we can imagine in the country and also in Africa at large. It's time for us to do the same thing within the agricultural sector as well. So Heifer International started what is called the AYuTe Africa Challenge, looking at how to catalyze innovations coming up from young Africans that can address problems within the agricultural sector in Africa. That's a big event that looks at innovators from all over Africa that might have ideas and probably at the growth stage that can make critical and large impact across countries. And that competition started in 2022, called the AYuTe Africa Challenge at the time. And these are competitions where people come together to compete for a cash prize of up to $1.5 million to scale innovation that have been piloted before that can just help to extend the impact and the reach of such innovation. The first edition of that came up with two winners. We had Hello Tractor, and we also had Cold Hops. Hello Tractor addressing issue around increasing mechanization services to smallholder farmers through a very unique model called the pay-as-you-go. And pay-as-you-go meaning an innovative financing model for people to access tractors and other appliances to service smallholder farmers so we can increase mechanization level in Africa, increase productivity, and ultimately move smallholder farmers out of poverty. Today, I'm happy to inform you that Hello Tractor has been able to distribute more than 100 tractors to different rural areas where they're servicing smallholder farmers, and thousands of farmers have been benefiting from those services. And the goal and vision is to reach 50,000 tractors in Africa over a number of years. We have Cold Hops, a young man that's also trying and working to see how to reduce post-harvest loss by tapping into solar energy to provide cold storage facilities to farmers that are probably into growing tomatoes, peppers, vegetables, and the likes. When I look at this picture, what comes to mind is that to solve Africa's food challenge problems, we have to address not just the issue of increasing productivity by supporting mechanization and other services. We also have to look at the issue of the wastages. How do we also address post-harvest loss that also accounts for a large proportion of the deficit we have in terms of meeting our food need locally and sometimes lead us to importing most of these foods that we currently consume. Bringing it down, we realize that there are also other younger people that have innovation and ideas that are not at the growth stage. They are not looking for $1.5 million. They have smaller ideas. They want to test run it. They want to kickstart it. They want to start it up. But they don't have anywhere to get the financing required or the mentorship or the hand-holding that they require to put that into play. So Heifer decided to say, can we also have AYuTe Africa Challenge at country level? So in 2022, we implemented this in Senegal, in Ethiopia, in Kenya, and in Uganda. Today, we're all here together to also implement and witness the grand finale of Nigeria implementation of AYuTe Africa, Nigeria. Please, a round of applause, please, for Heifer International. And today we're here in Nigeria. We're here in Lagos to jointly see and witness this special occasion where we will have young people discussing what is the future of agriculture for us. How do we get more younger people to be involved and interested in agriculture? How do we get more people to support solving the critical problems that the smallholder farmers face that keep us in the current challenges that we have and make us to continue to be a food deficit country where we import a lot to meet most of our local food demand and local need. Today as well, you will see some of the young innovators that are pitching to win from the cash prize of $20,000 to support or start up their ideas that's solving critical problem areas, like I mentioned earlier, within the agricultural space here in Nigeria. There are young people like you. So we look forward to some of you in the room by our next edition to also be part of it. Bring up your ideas, get involved so we can solve and rescue this particular sector that should be our most prioritized sector if we must get out of this food security challenge that we have as a country. So ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you again today. Relax, enjoy, and participate in this program. Thank you so much.